I shall call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We shall have roll call, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Groves,
Yes.
Helmy,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Well, welcome everyone to this December 10th, 2024 City Council meeting. Once again, I'll just start like we do every other meeting with Mayor Waller's quote for the day. This one is actually from an unknown author. Leadership is not about being in control. It's about making a positive impact on the lives of others. Okay, we shall move on to our agenda approval. I do have one addition that I would like to make under other business. It would be in item B, and that is going to be a statement by Mayor Wohlers regarding cannabis/hemp use. So if you'd like to add that, that would be great. If there are no other additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move a motion to approve the agenda as read with the addition of the statement on the cannabis hemp from Mayor Wallers.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We shall move on to the citizens' comments portion of our meeting. This is the point in our meeting. If there's anybody that would like to approach the council, now would be a good time. I just thought I'd take the opportunity to have a brief discussion about rules of decorum. Every time we have the citizens' comments portions, of course, we invite people to come and approach the council. And normally all I ask is that whoever is, just ask for permission to approach the council, and then of course the mayor being the facilitator of the meeting, I'll grant that normally. And I guess I would just expect that same consideration from members of the council as well. So that I think is really all we need to say about that. Hearing none or seeing none interest in approaching the council, we shall move on to our next item up, and that is our public hearings, which we have none. So I guess we can move on to our reading and approval of our regular meeting minutes from November 26, 2024. And I don't know if there's any discussion on the meeting minutes, but I do have a question. I usually skim through the meeting minutes, and I just thought I'd ask a clarifying question, probably more than anything. If you'll look at the comments portion when we're talking about the East Side Park and Gen 2 project, in particular, when we get down to Councilmember Gullickson's statement there regarding where it says, Gullickson stated she is excited to see the plans and to open this for discussion to the public. That is all fine and good. I read the paper, and the paper, of course, reported something different. And I just wanted to clarify, and maybe Kim can clarify, but in the paper said that, and I will quote, you have to be careful, and this is Councilmember Gullickson speaking, you have to be careful when you open things up for discussion. So it can't really be both ways. It has to be one way or the other. And I just want to make sure we're reporting accurately, and then, if nothing else, Kim, I wanted to make sure I understand your position too. That's the other part for why I raise it. So, do we accept the paper's version, or what? How do we do this?
Well, I can add with the paper, it's hot, because you did say about, to be careful about it, so.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to clarify, because it's important that we report accurately, and I know mistakes can be made, and just so we understand kind of where everybody's at, so. I guess what we can do is, if it's up to the council, if you wanna move forward with said corrections, I guess we'll entertain a motion to that end and move on.
What are you correcting it to again?
She said to be careful when we open it up for discussion.
For what the paper said.
Right.
Okay, okay. Well, I would move to accept the minutes with that, rewording of that.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve our regular meeting minutes with the corrections we discussed, from November 26, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we will have the condensed version from November 26, 2024.
I'll also move approval with that, obviously with the stated corrections.
Okay?
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the condensed version of the minutes with the same changes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We shall move on to the consent agenda. And for tonight, we have the audit of city bills, our gambling reports, our October 16th, 2024 City of Morris Tree Board meeting minutes, and item D, our Morris Transit report. And I guess I will move approval of those items on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Thank you. I will now bring it back to the council for discussion on any of those items from the consent agenda.
Line item 6, Bobcat of Morse for the airport skid steer snow blower for just under 60,000. That was for a state funded, correct? That's pretty much 100% picked up from the state.
I
For
believe
use.
it was 75-25.
75-25? Thank you.
Not really a question, more of a comment. Line number 12, I see we had a $700 bill or whatever for charge for customized fire rescue training for an active shooter. What did that all entail, Becca? Did you know what that was all about?
I do not know what that was about. I can talk to Matt if you'd like.
It'd be kind of nice to know what that training all entailed. Because normally, I guess when I'm thinking of fire training, you don't really think of active shooters in those situations, but I suppose it's a
Well,
concern.
The only thing I will say about that is there was that active shooter in Fargo, was it a
Mhm.
couple of years ago, that called all the fire department and the paramedics
Yep.
all came and they were shooting.
And being on the department almost 25 years, yeah, there are people out there and it happens around. Thank God it doesn't happen too close to here, but just to be on the lookout, I'm sure that's what it was just
Something like that.
always watching your back and,
Yep.
you know, if in doubt, before you get yourself into a predicament, to make sure you've got a access out or
Yep.
some coverage from your equipment.
Well, I'm glad we're staying on top of it if that is the case. It just seemed something that I didn't have really noticed before, and I just thought maybe it was something new or what, but I'm glad we're doing it, just for the reasons you just mentioned, Jeff. Any other discussion on any of the other items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second on that. I'll just do a voice vote on that also. All those in favor signify by saying aye, approving that consent agenda.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We shall move on to petitions, requests, and communications, which is item 4, which we have none. So we will move on to our ordinances and resolutions. That's number 9, I guess. Next up is ordinances and resolutions. Our first one before us is item A. We have a resolution increasing the sewer and water utility rates for 2025. I guess with that, I will maybe turn that over to Becca, and you can just speak to that a bit.
Yeah, so these rates are based on the rates that we that you received in the utility rate study. So going up that, about the 1% for the water. It was about a 3-4% for sewer, and then that, doubling the storm.
Is this gonna be pretty level then, do you think, or are we gonna look at increases every year?
So we'll always have an increase, just to make sure that we continue to stay above where we need to be. But like the water, I think that's projected out to be like a 1%, every year. So that's a minimal one. The sewer, or the stormwater, that will level off, that won't be, doubled every year. And we do have time, so if you want to, go back and look at, have us bring back the, utility rate study, we sure can. So you can kinda, I know it was a while back that we looked at that.
I think we discussed that in one of our work sessions, correct? Yeah.
And we've got a projected increase for the next 5 years, basically on the next page, which shows what our rates should be, or what we figure it needs to be, just to maintain, to do the improvements on our water and sewer projects that we have coming up, so.
One of the reasons I think we increased our, was it the stormwater, was because of the water meter. We're gonna have to replace our water meters. Does that come out of that fund?
No, so the storm is for like we had a pipe that needed to be replaced this last year by the Hudson, and we don't, all we really take in for storm right now is just for our MS4, stuff, so in order to build up to have some reserves for when we need storm pipe to be replaced, that's why that went up.
The water meters then come out of a different bucket.
The
then.
water meters come out of water.
Okay.
So, and that one went pretty high last year to cover,
Yep.
a lot of the chemical costs that increased pretty hefty. So with that, then projecting out, we only need about that 1%.
And do we have an idea when we're gonna be addressing the water meter, replacements? Cause
What- So we replace, or we buy water meters every year. So
Okay.
we have money budgeted every year for water meters.
okay,
Yeah. So like,
so we've been staying ahead
some
of
of the,
that.
some of the big things you'll see with water is our water tower will need to be rehabbed probably in the next 5 years.
Okay,
A new paint and all of that. So some of what we're using now for reserves will be used for, what we're getting for reserves are gonna be used for that project.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, it's good to stay ahead of it.
Mhm.
All right. Any other discussion regarding the resolution before us on the sewer and water utility rates?
I will move on the resolution increasing the sewer and water utility rates for 2025.
I will second that, and these will take effect as of January 1st of 2025.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution increasing sewer and water utility rates for 2025. I guess we'll have roll call vote on that resolution, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Corrales,
Yes.
Solly,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Mayor Wallers.
Yes. Okay, the next resolution before us is a resolution appointing officers of the Morris Fire Department for 2025. Looks like a pretty good group of fellers there, I would say.
I will move approval of the resolution appointing fire officers for the Morse Fire Department for the year 2025, and to thank these people that are serving our community to step forward and to take a leadership role in our department.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution appointing officers of the Morris Fire Department for 2025. And once again, I'll ask for a roll call vote on that, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Corrals,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Mayor Mullins.
Yes. Okay, the last resolution before us is a resolution approving a PERA duty disability settlement agreement with Anita Liebel, police officer. And I think what we'll do is we'll just put this to a vote right away, as per our discussion we had in our earlier closed work session. So I don't think at this point, unless there's a reason to have any more discussion, I'll just ask for a roll call vote, please,
Need a
Caroline.
motion and
Need
a
a
second
motion and a
first.
second.
Oh, we gotta have a motion second, I'm sorry, got a little bit ahead of myself.
I'll make the motion to approve the PERA duty disability settlement agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution, or a resolution approving a para-duty disability settlement agreement with Anita Liebel, police officer. And now we can have that roll call vote, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Selby,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Corrals,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Mayor Mullins.
Yes. Thank you. We will now, at this time, move on to our city manager's newsletter.
Becca, I'll need to head out early here if that's okay. Unless you need me for something on this. Okay,
Thanks, Joe.
thanks.
Okay, so union negotiations, I did hear from our last union just probably about, a little bit ago when we were in our closed session. So both unions have agreed to the tentative agreement, so we'll work on getting the contracts, ready, and we'll bring them to the next council meeting. We will have at 6 o'clock our truth in taxation, and budget talk, so I'll have a presentation to go over kind of where the final levy will be sitting at. Junior council, I'd like to thank the 7 high school students who participated in the first junior council interviews. So we had area chatters, Abigail Alantra, Angela.
Is it El Cantor?
It's
I
El
Cantor. Okay,
I think that,
so I
think
have a little
Yeah.
misspelling, yeah.
yep, spelling
Yeah.
error.
Angela, I'm gonna be really bad with these last names.
Albrecht.
Albrecht, Gail Gonzalez, Lopez, Sam Schrupp, and Greta Conroy. So, thank you to the students. They did amazing. We're very proud of how the high school is working with these students. They should be very proud of how these students handle themselves in the interview. Abigail, how did you say
El
that?
Cantor.
El Cantor. Has been asked to sit on council starting January 1st, or the first meeting in January, as our junior council members. We're very excited. She has agreed to come aboard, so very excited to have a junior council member and have a different perspective. So,
And she'll be sworn in, just like with the
Yeah.
other 2
yeah.
council members. That's
Yeah, it'd be
exciting
really,
stuff.
yeah, it would be really, really good for us, I think. RFQs for engineers, so I did speak to Jeff, our current engineer, and I have been working on getting an RFQ for an engineering service, city engineering services, so, I was hoping to have it done by this meeting. Things happened and I wasn't able to quite finish it, so I'll be bringing that to the next meeting. So the process kind of goes, to have you approve the RFQ, send it out to a few engineering firms, interview a selected few, and then bring back to council for approval. So, if anyone wants to be on a committee to interview, be a part of the interview selection process, just let me know. Otherwise, it'll probably be Ryan, Russ, and I interviewing those selected engineering firms. Kind of going on the Minnesota state budget. So the state is going into a budget year this year, so they're projecting $616 million state budget surplus, when their fiscal year ends in 2027. So it's a little lower than what they initially were estimating it at. Still gonna hope to lobby with the Coalition of Greater Minnesota and the League of Minnesota Cities for our LGA to go up. So it's always a big priority. As they were talking at the Coalition Fall Conference, you know, the LGA used to pay for about half of cities' expenses in their general fund, and that's definitely gone quite a bit down in years, so I'm hoping to get that back up. And then just kind of some information that I think we should try and explore next year with the schools. So the League of Minnesota Cities has a Mayor for a Day essay contest. They put it on every year. I did reach out probably a little late to the 6th grade teachers just because that's where my child's at, is in 6th grade, so I thought, well, I'll just reach out to him and see. But I think we should maybe talk to the school, see kind of where, if it fits in with what they're talking about, and maybe they can squeeze it into their curriculum in the year. It's just a one-page paper, kind of talks about it. What would you do if you were mayor for a day? So I think it's really cool, the kids who do it and are picked as winners. I think they win $100 from the league, so it's an incentive for the students to do it. But as we saw with our seniors, we have really very smart kids in this school, so I think it would be really cool if we were selected for, one of our kids were selected to be in to win that contest. So I think we should look at partnering with the school with that. So
Yeah, just a great way to engage again
yeah.
with the high school students. All right. Any questions from the city manager's newsletter?
On the union contracts, is there 3 unions that you're negotiating?
2.
Just only 2
Yeah.
right now?
The
Okay.
public works and the general unit.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there was 2 or 3.
Yep, and they both have agreed their tentative agreements for 3 years.
Oh,
So it'll be,
perfect.
yeah, it'll be nice.
All right. Any, if there are no other questions for our city manager, we can move on. Next up will be our board updates. If there's anything from our various boards we sit on that anybody would like to report, now would be a good time for that.
Park, we just have a meeting tomorrow night just to discuss more in-depth on the East Side Park or with the different proposals, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think, if we talked about, do we have a meeting since the parade of lights? Yeah, I think we have.
Yep.
Yeah, that's over and behind us, so. Sounded like the, holiday stroll looked like was pretty effective over the weekend. That was a chamber-sponsored event, of course, and man, I saw a lot of people in town. It looked like, I was asked to lead a tour for the Community of Scholars parents, and so I did that, jumped on a bus and kind of did a tour of our city for the parents. And as we were driving around, we'd seen a lot of traffic, people up and down Main Street, so it was kind of nice to see.
Palm de Terre Park is lit up with the Christmas holiday theme just on the weekends for everybody's information. I think there's some walk-through areas of it, I believe, and a drive-through. I believe you tune a radio station for a musical accompaniment to the lights. I think Santa Claus is even out there from 5 to 7, I think, on the weekends.
Yeah, we drove through the other night. It's kind of cool. It's worth seeing. All right, anything else from anybody else on their boards? If not, we can move on to other business. We have on there scheduled 2025 licenses, I guess. Let's see. These are liquor licenses, correct?
Liquor and then dance.
And the on-sale beer would be the 3-2 licenses, I believe.
On sale is where they can sell it there.
On-sale beer would be like Crystal Lanes and Combs Investments or Pizza Hut would be the two, I believe, that are the 3-2 yet, or have things changed?
So I believe the law has changed where they can sell,
Okay,
they don't have to sell 3-2.
all right. I know there's been,
Yeah.
Minnesota's been one of the only states with a 3-2, or I know it's just been
Mhm.
fewer and fewer, just clarifying that. And then also to making sure binding insurance coverage with all of these before, and I'm sure that has been taken care of, but just making sure that that is stipulated. I will move approval of the 2025 licenses as listed for the following businesses.
No second.
Okay, I'm assuming Dan Hospitality, is that old number one? I don't see old number one on there, I just thought maybe there's a corporate name that I'm not
I
familiar
would guess
with.
that's probably it, yeah.
Huh?
I would guess that's it.
Okay, all right, well, we have a motion and a second to approve the following liquor licenses. We'll just have a voice vote on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we shall move on to the item we added. It's just a brief statement from Mayor Wohlers. I was approached by a few members, whatever you want to call it, members of the community regarding the city's position on cannabis. And I guess I felt compelled to write a brief statement, and I'll just read it and we can have a brief discussion after. We got plenty of time before our 6 o'clock truth and taxation, so here we go. Several people in the community have asked me what our position is on cannabis use within the city of Morris. I felt compelled to make the following statement in this regard. My thoughts may or may not represent the feelings of the entire city council. What follows is a brief recap of where we are at as of today. After previous discussion during a work session, the city council decided not to have a municipal cannabis store. Then moving forward, at our last meeting, we approved the first reading of ordinance number 127, delegating the regulation of retail registration to Stevens County. The second reading is scheduled for December 23rd, 2024. Ordinance number 119 was adopted in October of 2023, which detailed cannabis and hemp use in public spaces. This ordinance passage went into effect 30 days thereafter. We all know that the cannabis ship has sailed. Cannabis in Minnesota became legal for recreational use in August of 2023. Governor Tim Walz signed House File 100 on May 30th, 2023. Minnesota law permits adults who are 21 years or older to purchase and possess up to 2 pounds, 900 grams of marijuana flower, 2 ounces in public space, 8 grams of concentrate, and 800 milligrams of infused edibles in a private residence. In May of 2014, Governor Mark Dayton signed into law a bill legalizing marijuana for the treatment of 9 severe medical conditions, including cancer, severe epilepsy, HIV, AIDS, glaucoma, Tourette's syndrome, ALS, and Crohn's disease. So medical marijuana has been legal for the last 10 years. Since that time, there has been some loosening of the restrictions regarding its use for medical purposes. On November 6, 2018, Tim Walz was elected governor of Minnesota. Walz argued that legalizing cannabis could bring in a new source of tax revenue for the state. Is that what defines us? Is it really about money? Following our last city council meeting, we interviewed 6 high school students for our new junior council program. I want to again thank all those students who were selected, who were interviewed for the position. And again, congratulations to Abigail Cantor on being selected for the junior council position. What a great experience it was to listen to the candidates as they shared their inspiration and interest in local politics. They also shared their hopes and dreams after graduating from high school. Wow, I can safely say that they were way ahead of me when I was their age. It's obvious to me that our school teachers, parents, and mentors have put them on the right path. We have a responsibility to these students to ensure continued success in all of their future endeavors. We as elected officials and leaders of this community need to ensure that cannabis use is regulated properly. Let us do our part to ensure their hopes and dreams are not derailed by cannabis abuse. Stevens County Commissioners have approved a cannabis ordinance following 3 public hearings. I encourage you to contact your local county commissioners with your thoughts regarding regulation of cannabis to ensure we get it right for the future of our children and our grandchildren. And I also encourage the public to attend our December 23rd meeting, and at that meeting we will adopt ordinance number 127, which details the regulation of retail cannabis. And moreover, at that meeting, we will hear about plans for the Eastside Park from the Gen 2 group. The public, of course, is welcome to attend and learn more about that project. Sincerely, Kevin Wellers, Mayor of Morris. So I just felt it was kind of something I wanted, because we're a little bit removed from this. We don't have a law enforcement, as you know, directly. I thought it was important for the public to understand that we're doing what we can at the city level, and just leave it at that. Any questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, I guess, are there any informational items? I see none. We have approximately 13 minutes or 14 minutes or so before our truth and taxation meeting can begin, because we have to start promptly at 6. I guess we could take a brief recess, and then we'll reconvene at 6.
Yeah, we're not.
Right.
Oh, we're not
Correct.
adjourned, no, we're
No.
just
Correct.
take a brief recess in place, I guess. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Nice to meet you.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
I stopped.
You could pause.
Yeah, check your tape.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Who's he?
Wow, let me get all this stuff together.
We can take a bathroom break, right?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
didn't know if we need to stay
Oh.
grounded or not.
No, you sure can.
Okay.
Take a little break, get a drink,
You want me to sign something here?
please.
Sure. Can do.
What's that?
Mind if I can get a picture of your statement?
Yep.
They acquitted that one dude for.
I can email it to you, I can give you a hard copy too.
5 days, he was, so now they're gonna file it for his family, the family.
That would be much easier for you.
Yes.
A civil suit against him.
There you go.
Wrongful
Thank you so
death, it's like,
Yeah, sure.
and he's in there.
If you want, I can email you one too.
Turn him
I
loose
think
and
it
go
should be
fucking
fine.
hoop bananas in the bar.
Alright.
Yeah, mental issues, I just, another issue, like a lot of stuff, McDonald's, but in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Have a
I
big,
actually thought it.
have a Big Mac and it's all good.
Okay.
Last night, I thought it was just somebody, you know, with a joke, cause I didn't think it really looked like him, but they said the gun and everything's in his backpack, so it's like crazy.
That was a crazy deal.
And that gal was sitting right alongside him, did you see that replay that shows her the gal sitting like in the storefront window outside in the sidewalk as he's lifting up? And she just takes off walking like between him and the building.
She did, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, thank you.
Fucking hop on a bicycle and just cruise down to the station. And it's like,
And then I will choke and die.
You got cameras, you got.
Mhm.
No.
Poor thing.
And half the people, or 60% of them, are like, fuck, yeah, who's the CEO of
Nobody-
healthcare? And it's like,
nobody
nobody
deserves
deserves that to be
that.
shot, you gun down in the back, 3 shots.
No. Yeah, that's a bad deal.
Well, our sports, our athletes, and where they're getting to be too with the crap, it's. Got spare time, the post office is looking for people to help haul mail and packages, so if you get done, if you wanna go over and run packages for 4 or 5 hours when you're done it.
I hoped, they were busy at night, or my mom and dad were there, and then my mom left a whole bunch of stuff. I took it out today, and they were busy in that post office, and there was only one poor gal there, like, sorry?
I talked to my mailman on the way down here, he said he got done at 9 o'clock last night.
Oh my
Yeah, they're
goodness.
delivering our mail after
He said
7
he had
now.
like 300 packages.
Oh my goodness.
Well, nobody goes to the store anymore.
Mhm.
True.
Click, yeah, and it's. Yeah, I left the house this morning at 7 and there was 2 packages against our garage door. It's like, whoa, normally I hear them coming and going.
Yeah. Better be a little careful leaving them outside in the next couple of days. It's gonna be awful cold.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be crazy.
It was windy as it was last night. Holy crap, it's funny it didn't blow away.
Not good.
The guy lost his cat, so now he's been putting out food, and the food's disappearing every night, so he's talked somebody into leaving a live trap. And I told him, I said, don't put it out the next 2 days, because as cold as it is, if it's what you think it is, it's gonna freeze to death in a live trap.
Yes, it would. It's probably a skunk or something.
But that's what everyone figures, but that was actually.
I asked Neil if he in his wildest dreams envisioned,
Left something
you
open
know,
and walked
crushing
away.
plant
Oh,
and all that
yeah.
He
stuff.
thinks it's his cat, and they're
So,
all,
well,
oh, it's
not really.
No.
Not from where he started.
No.
Cool, raccoon.
Yeah.
You know, during the tour, I think I picked up some information and I made comment to the, you know, the parents in the bus that really Superior is one of the fastest growing countries in the whole United States. Guy sitting next to me, he just couldn't believe it. And it's really true. That's,
As far as privately held,
that's exciting.
You either keep getting bigger or get bought out yourself. I mean, that's just the name of the corporate world these days, if you.
Yep.
They fully operational on the new crushing facility?
oh yeah, have been since for a little over, about a month, give or take.
Wow.
There's still some movement, right? We've got parts all over the yard that need to get wrapped yet, but they've been building in there for, I think the official move-in date was the 12th November.
many jobs did that add?
I think right now, company-wide, we have anywhere from 30 to 50 job open right now.
How many are employed out there as a whole right now?
Company-wide, it's 1,800 in Morris. Between Superior and Westmore, it's, I have this number. I wanna say 800 or 900.
Wow.
I could be way off on that number though. I'm not human
That
resources.
seems,
What you do is you give the weatherman an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
Anywhere from 200 to 1,000.
go. Yeah, there you go.
A lot.
Safe. Much
it's a lot, you know, but
It is.
when they're off, when they're getting off, you don't wanna be at
No.
line on 28 or out there on 9
No.
South, because it's just a nonstop.
Parade.
Somewhere, hold on.
Just think if we could retain some of them to live in town. Build.
Is this a long presentation?
Are you thinking about leaving before it started or what? I'm gonna run and get a drink of water. God,
I'll be back.
yeah.
Start with
While you're
Opie.
taking all your stuff, I just like to have a quick
I
meeting.
do. Just to make sure.
They're looking for 45 right now.
45 employees.
Yeah, we just have a few more minutes to wait, I guess. Well, the lack of snow has to help a little bit with our snow budget. I don't see any snow in the forecast either.
Oh, just good ice.
Minimal. You been out?
Yeah, we're on the bomb on Saturday. We did okay. Cut 9.
700 between the two companies in Morris.
Well, you were darn close.
It was pretty darn close.
Yeah. Even before the 2 and 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you got 4 buildings out of Superior,
Yep.
4 buildings at Westmore,
Yep. And they're redoing their office out there.
expanding or building that onto the end of the truck shop now.
Yep.
What do they do with the old ones? Take it down? Did that beat up from the storms?
I mean, it's pretty beat up.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I mean, that's gonna be the eventual parking lot, isn't it?
I think so.
I think is what I've gathered a little bit. I talked to somebody out there
The roof flew off there twice.
that has substantial damage inside to everything at all
Mhm.
times.
Right.
So
They're adding onto the front of the truck shop also to put in a few more offices and some delivery. More customers are coming in to pick up their product instead of getting them delivered.
we've added a number of different delivery bays out at Superior too. So.
Did you do your liquor store tour? Tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow it is. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Oh, how many are you going to? I think like 3 or 4. Okay, fun.
Okay,
Next week and.
I have 6 o'clock. We shall move ahead with our truth and taxation portion of our meeting.
Alright, this presentation will be, what our 2024 tax levy and our 2025 city budget. So, looking at the levy, from 2024 to 2025, so in the general fund, that does include a loader lease, which is, this will be the last year, and then the motor grader lease. So market value comparisons, with the estimated market values from the assessor, the market value is increasing about 9.25. Stable liquor store sales, and then we had that water sewer rate study that helped us determine some of the budget stuff there. So, in looking at the budget comparison from last year, so last year's total city budget was almost 15 million. Total budget for next year is almost 14 million. Some of the big differences with that is we had a lot of dollars going into transit last year. So those were dollars that were revenue expenses that ended up coming off. So we did have, should say, a decrease there of little over 7%. So the general fund budget is going up about 4.69%. I have a sheet here for you that kind of lays out the different departments and kind of where those expenses are going up. Some of them are little, some of them are different things, like in the city manager department, you see an increase. We have money set aside in there for codifying the ordinances. Insurance wages went up. Elections are down because of no election next year. Finance department's up for training, insurance, wages. You have your 3% increases for assessing, the attorney, and then also for EDA and community education. Police department, that's up about 10.5%. Some of that, our safety dollars will cover. When we had our preliminary discussions, we talked about seeing what the county sheriff's department budget's at and seeing where, if they were on par with what they were charging us, they're about 11% increase in their budget, and they are not done with negotiations. So it's a negotiation for with their LELS. So I'm not sure exactly what she put in for wages, but they're at an 11% increase for their budget. So kind of on par with what they're asking us to contribute.
So that'll put us a little over $1.6 million,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yep.
Okay.
The rental inspections have gone up based on what the HRA has calculated, but those are also in the revenues with how much they're going to be taking in. Street budget's up due to insurance and wages. Parks, we have our different fees for Camp Spot, and then looking at putting electrical in at the campground. So that is in there versus in the capital outlay. And then transit's up a little bit for salaries and vehicle maintenance. Airport too is up for operating supplies, insurance, software increases, so all of that. And then we're down for other financial uses, financing uses, just because our some of those dollars last year that we saw coming in for the transit are not there, 'cause we don't have those expenses and grant dollars coming in, so those are down too. So that's kind of a little bit of a breakdown on where those increases in the general fund are coming. Any questions on those? So our capital improvement fund, so that went up about 7%. What that consists of is crack filling, seal coating, mud jacking, engineering, replaying
On the sidewalks, Becca, we've identified sidewalks of priority, I believe, correct?
So, no, so this is for if
Something different.
someone wants their sidewalk done.
Oh,
So that kind of program. So if someone wants their sidewalk done and they want us to assess it, so they don't have to pay it all up front, kind of how that works. So
Oh.
we're still putting together, how much cost we want them to incur and how much cost we're willing to take on to help them and assess it, and how that program's gonna look. But 15,000 is kind of for
The set
those
aside.
who need help with their sidewalks and need them
Okay.
fixed. That's what that's.
okay, thanks for clarifying that.
So our capital outlay fund, is down, just like I said, because of those, big dollar transit items last year. You do have in front of you the capital outlay by departments. So the things that are on there, that we are allocating our dollars for, we have computers for the finance department, the fire department, have those turnout gears, the chargers, keeping sure we keep those on a rotating schedule, the 6 personal gas monitors, the portable hose, and the dump chute for tanker 24. The loader lease and motor grader are in there. And then streets, looking at a laser level. And then the parks, this is where our big expenses are. And then when we look at the final budget, at the next meeting, I did take out a little more from our liquor store in order to, cover some of the concession at Wells Park, the concession bathrooms. So, thank you to those who continue to go and get liquor at our liquor store. It's gonna help us build our bathroom and concession stand at Wells Park. It is on there, the electric at, Palm de Terra. I'll take that off before our final budget. The picnic tables, it's kind of a standard on there, the doors locks. Hand dryers, auto flushers, those are just kind of every year put in to make sure we continue to upgrade all the ones that need to be graded here. We have, and then we have benches, for the parks. So we have the bus, we have our 90% for the bus, for the transit. And then the airport, our share on there is the design for the AD building. And then a local share, we're gonna hopefully go out for a state grant for a pump out there. So those are our portions that we'll have to pay for that. And then we have our unallocated just in case there's some things that come up. Next page, you'll see, we put in dollars for the library. I have 2 single study carrels and 1 double study carrel for $11,512. And we have our pumper truck payment for the fire department. In the public works, in the water, you have the new snow blade for the skid loader, and then some water meters. Wastewater has pump trailer, box blade, camera, transfer switch. So both the water and the sewer, those are separate funds, so they kind of are self-sustaining. And then nothing for the for the liquor store and the garage. Any questions with that?
We don't need any more expandable foam out there at the garage?
When we go to them on a video, I'll have you go through their garage. So the library fund, this comes from state aid and taxes, so the library budget went up about 9.4%. We have a stormwater budget, that went up about 7%. these ones are now kind of like a self-sustaining, stuff. So the lodging tax, those are coming from those lodging dollars that we get. Budgeting about 83,000, up about 16,000 or 16%. At the first meeting in January, Quick Content will be here, we'll kind of be discussing and having an overview of our year and kind of what that looks like. This kind of goes through what our debt service is. We have the 2013A GEO improvement bond of 35,000, the 2017A of 83,224, 2020A of 185,687, and the 2023A 103,662. So for a total of 407,573 for our debt service funds. So our water, we're projecting revenues at 2,275,217 with expenses of 2,269,632 for projected income of 5,585. So that does include depreciation on the water plant. And our sewer utility fund projected revenues of 593,778 and expenses of 494,261 for a projected income of 99,517.
That 110,000 on the water treatment plant that we're required to put aside and save for future, what type of a fund is that in? Are we able to invest that in some type of a fund, or?
Yep, it's being fully invested, so it's a reserve replacement fund, so it cannot be spent, and then I have to do reporting each year to prove that amount in that account, but it's being fully invested. So we make the return on that.
Thank you.
So our garbage fund is kind of a no money maker there. Budgeted net income of $200. Our liquor store fund, their projected revenues are almost $3 million with projected expenses of 2.7. So for a net income of 244,240. And the central garage fund, this is where our mechanic is. So for revenues of 216,506, expenses of 212,811, so a net income of 3,695. So for the future, kind of thinking forward, so union negotiations are being settled. There's a 3-year tentative contract. So kind of nice that we'll have 3 years to not to know what we need to budget for our salaries. So costs are up in a number of items due to inflation, including fuel, supplies, repairs, and equipment purchases. So like we talked earlier, local government aid is still a priority for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and us. The total that we used to get from LGA would cover about 50%. When they started this, it was over 50% of what budgets were, and over the years it has gone down and down and down. So they are really trying to get those up because costs are going up and cities are having to rely heavily on property taxes to fulfill their budgets. And then we're gonna work on seeing what our funding sources are for our water, sewer, street projects. We have a lot of upcoming street projects and need to figure out a way, trying to figure out what kind of funding we can have so we're not placing a lot of burden of special assessments on those in the project areas. So those are some big things for the future. Oh, any questions?
It'll be interesting to see how LGA shakes out, but it's looking like a split House and Senate.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen. We were flat last year, weren't we, for the most part?
Yeah, not a lot. There's a little bump, but not ton. And a
Significant.
couple years ago, they used, I think switched how the formula was done and, gave us cities a little bigger of a bump. But last year wasn't a terribly big bump.
Are we locked in with our law enforcement? I don't recall having a second meeting that we were supposed to have.
Yeah, we didn't. Are we locked in? I
Yeah,
feel
we
like-
didn't, we didn't meet again for that. They just told us that. And we never really agreed to it.
Once they got they were waiting to hear I think some labor contracts to see where they were at, and we were supposed to get back together, but we never have.
Do you want me to set up something for the end of the week or?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how we're looking at what we're budgeting and what we're setting, and if we haven't, and where we're at, I'd be nice to sit down and figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, we entered into a 2-year agreement, so that's, I would assume what we'll do again, or what's
So
another
this-
2-year, or is
So
it?
our agreement is not up yet, our contract with them is not up. They are able to raise their rates.
When is I thought our contract was up this year.
No.
It's not,
No.
okay.
But some of the costs that was to be negotiated as things change,
Okay,
our basic contract goes, I think, for another, I don't wanna say through the end of 25.
Yeah.
I
it was
believe.
2 years, I know, when we entered into
But
it,
they
so.
were able to
Raise it up.
change or negotiate on some of the costs of things but we haven't had that meeting just to,
Yeah, let's, meet afterwards so I can get some dates at work or times and then just send her a message. Cause our final, we won't approve the budget until the 23rd, so we have a little bit of time to talk to her.
thank you.
Any questions from anybody from the council or anybody in the audience regarding our budget? Nicely done. All right, well, if there's no other further questions and no other business to come before the council,